Wishing all of you a very happy and prosperous day. This is Harshit Sharma of class 12th A presenting my AIL project on the history of calculus. First of all, I would like to express my special thanks and gratitude to my mathematics teacher Mr. Abhishek Yadav sir for his guidance and support in completing my project. I would also like to extend my gratitude to our coordinator ma'am, Mrs. Deepa Nagra ma'am, for providing me all the facilities that were required. Here we begin with the introduction. Calculus, infinitesimal calculus, is a mathematical discipline focused on limits, continuity, derivatives, integrals, and infinite series. Isaac Newton and Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz independently developed the theory of infinitesimal calculus in the later 17th century. By the end of 17th century, each scholar claimed that the other had stolen his work, and the Leibniz-Newton calculus controversies continued till the death of Leibniz in 1716. Here we go with the stages of development of calculus. Early period. From the age of Greek mathematics, Eudoxus used the method of exhaustion, which foreshadows the concept of limit, to calculate areas and volumes, while Archimedes developed this idea further, inventing heuristics, which resembles the method of integral calculus. Greek mathematicians are also credited with significant use of infinitesimals. Medieval period. Some ideas on calculus later appeared in Indian mathematics at the Kerala School of Astronomy and Mathematics. Madhava of Sangamagram in the 14th century and later mathematicians of the Kerala School stated components of calculus such as Taylor series and infinite series approximations. However, they were not able to combine many differing ideas under the two unifying themes of the derivative and the integral. Show the connection between the two and turns calculus into a powerful problem solving tools that we have today. Before Newton and Leibniz, the word calculus referred to any body of mathematics, but in the following years, calculus became a popular term in the field of mathematics based upon the insights. Newton and Leibniz, building on this work, independently developed the surrounding theories of infinitesimal calculus in the late 17th century. Also, Leibniz did a great deal of work with developing consistent and useful notations and concepts. Newton provided some of the most important applications to the physics, especially of integral calculus. Newton came to calculus as a part of his investigations in physics and geometry. He viewed calculus as the scientific description of the generation of motion and magnitude. In comparison, Leibniz focused on the tangent problem and came to believe that calculus was a metaphysical explanation of the change. Importantly, the core of their insight was the formalization of the inverse properties between the integral and the differential of a function. The insight had been anticipated by their predecessors, but they were the first to conceive calculus as a system which new rhetoric and descriptive terms were created. Their unique discoveries lay not only in their imagination but also in their ability to synthesize the insights around them into a universal algorithmic process, thereby forming a new mathematical system. Now we go with the modern period. Firstly, we will study Newton's contribution. In an effort to give the calculus a more rigorous explanation and framework, Newton compiled in 1671 the Methodus Fluxionum et Sererum Infinitarum. In this book, Newton's strict empiricism shaped and defined his fluxional calculus. He exploited instantaneous motion and infinitesimal informally. He used maths as a methodological tool to explain the physical world. the base of Newton's revised calculus became continuity. As such, he redefined his calculations in terms of continual flowing motion. For Newton, variable magnitudes are not aggregates of infinitesimal elements, but are generated by indisputable fact of the motion. As with many of his work, Newton delayed publication. Methodus Fluxionum was not published until 1736. Here is the portrait of Sir Isaac Newton. Further, Newton attempted to avoid the use of infinitesimal by forming calculations based on the ratios of change. In the Methodus Fluxionum, he defined the rate of generated changes as fluxion, which he represented by a dotted letter, and the quantity generated he defined as fluent. This revised calculus of ratios continued to be developed and was maturely stated in 1676 text De Quadratura Curvarum, where Newton came to define the present derivatives as the ultimate ratio of change, which he defined as the ratio between evanescent increment, the ratio of fluxions, purely at the moment in this question. Here we go with the Leibniz contributions to the calculus. In 1672, Leibniz met the mathematician Huygens, who convinced Leibniz to dedicate significant time to study of mathematics. By 1673, he had progressed to reading Pascal's Trait des Sines de Quartere Circle, and it was during his largely autodidactic research that Leibniz said a light turned on. Like Newton, Leibniz saw the tangent as the ratio, but declared it simply as the ratio between ordinates and abscissa. He continued the reasoning to argue that integral was the fact of the sum of the ordinate for infinitesimal intervals in the abscissa. In effect, the sum of an infinite number of rectangles. From these definitions, the inverse relationship or in differential and integral became clear, and Leibniz quickly realized the potential to form a whole new system of mathematics, where Newton, over the course of his career, used several approaches in addition to an approach using infinitesimal. Leibniz made this the cornerstone of his notation and calculus. Here is the portrait of Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz. In the manuscripts of 25 October to November 1675, Leibniz recorded his discoveries and experiments with various forms of notations. He was acutely aware of the notational terms and used his earlier plans to form a precise logical symbolism became evident. Eventually, Leibniz denoted the infinitesimal recurrents of abscissa and ordinates dx and dy, and the summation of infinitely many infinitesimally thin rectangles as a long S, which became as the present integral symbol. That's all with my presentation. Thank you very much, and the source of my content was Wikipedia.